We took it real short in the back and tapered it with some scissors, then we went through it with texturizing shears. We point cutted the whole top. Hi, I'm Tammy, and today I'm going to be doing a woman's haircut. We're going to make it short, spiky, with lots of texture. When you're working with a short haircut of any kind, the best thing to do, or any haircut really, is to work in a pattern. It doesn't really matter where you begin your pattern. It's really just sticking with a pattern because you don't want to get lost. In this particular situation, I'm just going to start up here in the crown, and then we're going to work down here. I'm going to be rounding this off. I'm going to hold my fingers like this when I'm cutting. I'm going to be using this as my guide, and I'm going to round it all the way down. Then when I get down here, I'm going to do scissor over comb. So I'm going to round this off here. Notice my fingers are rounded. And I'm just actually going to take it all the way down. And I'm going to get this as short as I can get it. You know, it's best, even though it's uncomfortable, but I find it's best to overreach your haircuts instead of going like this when they're this short, because you have more control in the tips of your fingers and you can get it shorter down there. So what I'm doing now is I'm just getting the basic shape of it, and then I'm going to go back and texturize it. I'm going to start my guide up front because I want to figure out where we want her bangs to be. This is kind of simple, you just keep pulling it back. Like, since I cut it coming this way, I'm going to cross-check my work coming this way. And then you can kind of see the little corners. See the little corner here? I'm going to cut that off. I'm going to round out the corners here. We're just going to use a razor for her bangs. I'm using a feather razor. Now I'm going to be scissor over combing this section back here, and I'm going to scissor over comb into the sides to blend it all in. As I'm doing it, the comb, I'm actually going up, but I'm also tilting the comb a little bit. I'm actually tilting it a little bit as I go to give it more of a tapered look. So as you scissor over comb, tilt it a little so you have a tapered look. Definitely. So the way you hold your comb makes a big difference on the way the haircut's going to come out. So I'm going to tilt it, but I'm also going to be over directing it by holding the comb out a little bit on that side. So as I go up, it's going to be shorter here and get longer towards the front. I don't want to make a real severe angle for her here. We want to kind of leave it on the ear because it definitely looks softer for a lady. So we're going to kind of do that like this. I'm going to actually put my finger here, put the hair over my finger sort of like this, and I'm just going to kind of point cut it into it. Now you want to follow the shape of her, the shape here. You don't want to just cut it straight across. You want to kind of go in a little and then out. Make a little shape right there. So you just got to kind of fool around in the way you want this to look right here. Okay. Now I'm going to be using my thinning shears. Now, these thinning shears take about, I would say, my guesstimate, I'm estimating that these thinning shears take out about 20% of the hair. You have to be careful with thinning shears that these notches here don't take out too much hair. Or if they do take out too much hair, be very aware of how much they're taking, because we're not looking to chop into it, change the haircut, we're just looking to soften it and texturize it. So I'm going to take it as tight as I can down here, so I'm actually pushing it against the skin and I'm tilting it just slightly. We're going to take that real close. Now eventually as you cut your thinning shears, they're going to cut everything off, because obviously if you do 20% but you do it 5 times, it's going to take off 100% of the hair. So, some people like to buy thinning shears that take out 50% of the hair because then they have less work. But I usually like to work with this because I use these thinning shears for a lot of different things. So I'm using this for more texture. In the bottom here, I'm using it to remove the rest of the hair I wanted. And as I go up, I'm using it as more of a blending technique. So the hair is more natural on the end, and then it blends. And then you don't see the lines in there. See, that's going to blend it in, and that's going to soften it up really nice. I'm tilting my comb as I go. And I'm still, if you really look at the way I'm tilting my comb, I'm tilting it this way, holding it up a little bit, and then also tilting at the same time because I'm using the comb as you would your hands, your fingers. Use the comb to direct it where you want it to go. You're molding it actually with that. And that actually really softens up the haircut and makes it really soft and blends it. I'm gonna go ahead and clean it up again with my feather razor. We're just gonna do that. So it's kind of soft on the ends, not like a line. So I just kind of like slightly do this. And it jaggeds it up. Now I'm going to do the top section, and the way I'm going to do that, I'm going to be point cutting. That's why I cut it first, so then the base is there, and then I point cut after I'm done. The way you point cut, you have to be careful not to go in there. You have to be careful not to just go in and cut. Actually, what you do is as you're cutting, cut on the way out. Because then you're not going to cut yourself. If you're cutting on the way out, you're not going to cut yourself, because I can't tell you how many times I have cut myself point cutting. So you don't want to go too much of an angle. You don't want to do too much of a V like this, because then it's going to ruin your haircut. You want to point cut almost straight into it. Like this. See, I'm going straight into the hair. You can actually go in this way too. And this is another technique you kind of have to practice at. But I'm actually kind of flicking it out. So as I'm doing it, I'm closing the scissors just a little bit as I flick it out. One time I've heard this called fanning it out, and that actually is kind of a good name for it. And you can just pick out the bulky spots that way. And this is really good for any length of hair. Now to style it, I'm going to use Schwarzkopf fiber gum. Just going to work it in my hands and work it into the hair. So you get this, if you get a good pomade or some sort of texturizing cream, you can really make it fun. Because now it's like a little crazy, but a little nice. Mold it where you want it to go. Okay, that's it. These are the results. We took it real short in the back and tapered it with some scissors. Then we went through it with texturizing shears. We point cutted the whole top and made it real nice and textured. We left it a little bit longer in here so she could do a little bit of something with it. But it looks really cool. I like it. Okay.